Got more breaking information coming in. New tonight, a member of Congress has reportedly just been carjacked at gunpoint in the Navy Yard area of Washington, D.C. Now, this is according to sources. These that you're looking at on screen are live pictures. As you might imagine, there is a heavy police presence. The member is Democratic Congressman Henry Cuellar of Texas. As you can imagine, the large police presence on scene. Axios is now reporting that the car or the location here is near a dorm that houses dozens of members of Congress in that Navy Yard area. The Axios reporter said at least 3 suspects were involved and that Cuellar's phone and vehicle were taken during this incident. We, of course, will keep you updated on this. We'll check back in with the live pictures and we'll find out if we can get Congressman Cuellar to come on and give us his take on what happened. Well, the Fox News at Night Common Sense Department finds it unusual to hear the words pillage and plunder in 2023. Sounds more like something Calico Jack would say aboard the Jolly Roger on the high seas circa 1708. But in the San Francisco Bay Area, there appears to be a pirate revival of sorts. Only these aren't the patch-wearing pirates of yesteryear. They are most likely homeless people who steal small boats and use them to, quote, pillage bigger boats. And many times the smaller boats are then abandoned or partially sunk. And common sense has learned that patrolling the waterways, especially the Oakland Alameda estuary, has become a bit of a problem. Turns out the Alameda Sheriff's Department only has a part-time marina patrol. And there's only one Oakland police officer working the estuary. One boat owner says he and his fellow marina residents have been forced to physically fight off the seafaring bandits trying to ransack their houseboats. He says all the boat owners now have a, quote, gun or knife or stick or sword to protect themselves. Sword? Pillage, plunder, and sword fights? Common sense thinks the homeless are changing tactics. The authorities are not. We have long known the streets of San Francisco are unsafe, but crime and violence on the waterways is a troubling new spin on a centuries-old ploy. Let's bring in criminal defense attorney Vic Bajaj with more on this. Before we get to the pirates, Vic, I want to get your take on the breaking news. Congressman Cuellar carjacked in D.C. I mean, this is kind of showing you there's a lot of members of Congress who live in this area near the Navy Yard. And these are live pictures, again, going back live to D.C., Vic. And this is really part and parcel of something we've been talking about for a long time about how the crime is not just affecting the most vulnerable. This is affecting some of the highest ranking members in these cities.
That's correct. And these crimes trace that have such a propensity for future violence. In other words, when you approach a vehicle, you don't know if that person may have a CCW, a concealed weapons permit, a bat, a baton, or something like that. But you can be sure of one thing, you're inviting violence. And we see this gratuitous invitation of violence happening so much around, just indiscriminate of who the victim is. And that's because it may just be one quick check-in to get a citation or be booked in and have your smiling picture taken until only a few hours later you're on the streets, perhaps to reoffend.
Yeah, we are, by the way, on the phone trying to contact Congressman Cuellar now to see if we can get him on live. He may be talking to police. We don't know. Meantime, I want to go back to the Bay Area. We'll keep checking in on live pictures. It's almost like these homeless pirates that are going after these boats kind of realize, Vic, that they're not going to be thrown in jail. It's just there's not resources to be able to catch these people.
You know, Trace, about 27 years ago when I was a young clerk with the Public Defender's Office, I remember being so excited to go into custody and interview my first client. And when I did that, I remember that client taught me more about release conditions, bail, and the current state of the legislature than I had learned in law school. So yes, these are opportunistic crimes. There is a void in apprehension and investigation and surveillance in the areas of the waterways. And those are particularly vulnerable places. But don't forget, if a district attorney really wants to lay down the hammer and make those communities safer, those are dwellings under the California Penal Code. Those are residential burglaries and robberies.
You talk about the California Penal Code. Zero cash bail is now in effect in Los Angeles County. Here's the former L.A. County Sheriff Alex Villanueva. Watch.
And October 1st starts a zero bail schedule in L.A. County, which is a nightmare. That means that if you got caught in the act of doing, say, a smash and grab, cite and release, book and release, or the funny one is called magistrate review, where they'll order you not to commit additional crime.
It's the magistrate review one that people are like, really? I mean, don't do it again. It is very seldom a workable tactic.
Yes, that's right. And there's a number of studies around. CBS just actually published one earlier this year which looked at the rates of recidivism. Are you more likely to convict a crime if you're released without having the anchor of having to pay for your release and your liberty? And some studies have found you're 3 times as likely to commit a crime, but not just any crime, domestic violence and violence. Sometimes the immediate arrest and the bail conditions, such as stay-away orders, are crucial to protect the victims of the initial crime.
Target says it might lose $1.2 billion in theft this year, and now they're wanting to team up with the Department of Homeland Security to try to keep the stores safer. And people might think, well, maybe they should protect the border before they start going and protect Target. What do you think, quickly on this?
Well, I think we've talked about smash and grabs and that theme proliferating in the state of California and other states around the nation. We've also talked, Trace, about the federal government intervening. Here you have federal data being used in a private business to combat organized retail theft, and you're going to see more of this in the future.
Yeah. Vic Bajaj, great to have you on as always. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.